All right, let's dive right in. Today we're going to tackle the single biggest misunderstanding in crypto, one that almost everyone gets wrong when they're starting out: what a wallet actually is. Getting this right is the first step to true mastery.
So let's just get this straight right from the very beginning. Your crypto is not in your wallet, any more than your bank account is literally inside your debit card, right? A better way to think about it is like a special keychain. It's a tool that holds your keys and lets you sign off on transactions. This one simple shift in thinking, man, it's the big idea, and it changes everything about how you operate.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to dig into what I call the 4 pillars of real control. Then we'll see how this stuff plays out with a real-world risk, one you've probably already faced. From there, we'll talk about making that crucial mindset shift from a casual user to a sovereign operator, and we'll wrap it all up with a quick self-audit so you can see exactly where you stand.
All right, the 4 pillars. To truly master your assets, you absolutely have to get your head around these concepts: custody, control, access, and the 4th one, exposure. These are the bedrock of security. Understand them, and I promise you are instantly way ahead of the curve.
Okay, first up is custody. Now this is all about ultimate authority. Who has the final say? It's not just about who uses the assets, but who has that fundamental game over kind of power over them.
And this really boils it down perfectly. If you want to figure out who has custody, just ask these 2 super simple questions. Who can actually sign the check? And maybe even more important, who has the power to freeze the account entirely? The answer to that question, well, that tells you where the power truly lies.
Okay, so if custody is that ultimate authority, our next pillar, control, is the practical ability to take action. It's your power to actually move funds, to sign a transaction, or to authorize something to happen. This is where the rubber meets the road. And that brings us to access. This one seems pretty simple, right? It's just your ability to log in. But listen, here's the trap, and it's probably the single biggest mistake new users make. Access does not equal control. Just because you can log in doesn't mean you're actually in charge.
And this illustrates the point perfectly. You have access to your account on a big exchange. You can log in, you can see your balance, you can place trades, but who has control? The exchange does. They can freeze your withdrawals. They can block your account. They can stop you from moving your assets. You have access, but they have control. See the difference?
And our final pillar is exposure. And this isn't just about how much money you could lose. No, it's your total risk surface area. Your assets, sure, but also every single permission you've ever granted and even your on-chain identity. It's the sum of all your potential weak points.
And exposure? Well, it creeps in from all angles. Every dApp you connect to, every sketchy transaction you sign, every time you use a compromised device or, store your seed phrase poorly, each one of these actions just widens your exposure to risk. All right, enough theory. Let's see how these pillars actually play out in a real-world scenario, one that you've probably experienced yourself. So, picture this. You find a cool new NFT project. First, you connect your wallet. Boom, you've just granted the dApp access to see your wallet address. Next, you sign the transaction to mint the NFT. You are now exercising your control over your assets. But then, a little pop-up asks for an unlimited approval to spend your tokens. If you click yes, you have just created a huge amount of exposure, potentially allowing that smart contract to drain your funds later without you ever signing another thing. And this right here, this brings us to the absolute core of this whole explainer. It's time to make the shift from thinking like a casual retail user to thinking like a sovereign operator, someone who moves with intention, with purpose, and with structure.
I mean, this quote just says it all. Retail users optimize for what's easy. Sovereign operators optimize for architecture. They aren't just looking for the convenient path. They're designing a secure system. They're playing chess, while a lot of other people are just playing checkers.
So what does that actually look like? Well, the retail user has one wallet for absolutely everything, clicks approve without a second thought, and always prioritizes convenience. The operator, on the other hand, uses separate wallets for different functions, verifies every single approval, and understands that real control is preserved through intentional design, not just speed. Okay, now it's time to turn the lens on yourself. Let's apply these concepts to your own setup with a really quick self-audit. And be honest with yourself here. And I mean it. Take a moment and really think through these next few questions, because you can't build a secure structure until you can see the cracks in your current one. First question, where do your private keys actually live? Are they sitting on a centralized exchange? Are they in a browser extension? On a hardware wallet? This single question answers who truly has custody.
Second, what permissions have you given away? Just think about every approve button you've ever clicked. What smart contracts out there have the power to spend your funds right now without asking you again? That right there, that's your active exposure.
And here's the big one. If your main, everyday wallet was compromised, this very second, what would you lose? Is it just some spending cash for mints? Or is your entire long-term treasury at risk? The answer to this question reveals the strength or the weakness of your entire setup.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Wallet mastery isn't about owning a specific device. It's about designing your own personal operating system for control, a system that manages your assets, your risk, and your on-chain identity. You see, a sound setup is designed to protect what's most important. It builds layers of defense, it separates different kinds of risk, and it actively works to shrink your exposure. And this isn't just about avoiding disaster. It's about being able to operate with clarity and with confidence.
And that's where we'll leave it. You now understand the difference between access, control, custody, and exposure. So the final question is for you to take away and act on. Looking at your setup right now, who truly has control?